Mdungwa. We are now going to do the administration of oath, but before I do that, let me bring the following to your attention that you have been invited to appear before this ad hoc committee, which investigate allegations that have been made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. You have been invited to provide information to help the committee in its oversight work so that it can properly investigate these allegations. And among these allegations are the alleged unlawful disbandment of the political task team, otherwise known as the PKTT or the NPKTT. Number two, the alleged moratorium on the filling of vacancies within the South African Police Services, the SAPS. Three, alleged corrupt relationship between senior leadership within SAPS and members of the public. And lastly, political interference in the work of the SAPS. In extending this invitation, the chairperson of the ad hoc committee has indicated to you that you may provide such information to the committee if you so wish, under oath in terms of the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act. General Khumalo, please be informed that by law you are required to answer fully and satisfactorily all the questions lawfully put to you, or to produce any document that you are required to produce in connection with the subject matter of the inquiry, notwithstanding the fact that the answer of the document could incriminate you or expose you to criminal or civil proceedings or damages. General Khumalo, you are, however, protected in that evidence given under oath or affirmation before a House or a Committee of Parliament may not be used against you in any court or place outside Parliament except in criminal proceedings concerning a charge of perjury or a charge relating to the evidence or documents required in these proceedings. Please be aware that in terms of Section 17, subsection 2 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act, a person who willfully furnishes a House or a Committee of Parliament with information or makes a statement before it which is false or misleading commits an offence and is liable to a fine or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years. General Khumalo, you are required to take an oath or affirm that the evidence you are about to give is truthful. Which one do you elect, oath or affirmation?
I'll take an oath, Honorable Chair.
You have elected to take an oath. You will follow me as I dictate. You will say "I" and state your names in full.
I, Samuel Dumisani Khumalo,
swear that the evidence I shall give
swear that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth. And so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you so much. I'm handing over to Advocate Maria Mkhwanazi. She will run this session until 13 hours, and then we will then make further announcements on how we're going to proceed through the course of the day. Thank you so much. Good luck to you, Advocate Mkhwanazi and General Khumalo.
Honorable Chair, if I may just continue with some formalities or to try and get through the affidavit as quickly as possible so that we can get to the meat of General Khumalo's evidence. General Khumalo, you currently occupy the position of Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, having been appointed in that position on the 1st of December 2022.
That is correct, Chair.
From the inception of the political killings task team, which is very much a focus of this Honourable Committee's inquiry, you served as the project coordinator from July 2018.
That is correct, Chair.
In September 2018, you became project leader of that task team, succeeding Major General Ramatsoeli after his retirement in September 2018.
That is correct.
Now, your own service history is quite impressive. You joined the SAPS in 1991 as a student constable. You progressed to become a coordinator preparing for our World Cup year in 2010. You were appointed as coordinator 2006.
That's correct.
You also assisted with the Qatar World Cup, which we know also recently was concluded successfully. In 2012, you progressed to the operational response services.
That's correct.
Yeah, there's been some issue about you not having some detective experience. You want to comment on that at all?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members. When I joined the police, I was not aware that there are different compartments within the police. I wanted to be a complete police officer who can be able to do almost everything that is expected from a police officer. So luckily for me, the path that I chose was from the operational coordination side. So it is that operational coordination that gave me an opportunity to be able then, because when you are coordinating operations, you are like a choir conductor who must be able to sing and direct all parts of the choir. So the theory, then I'll get from each and every operational plan that I have to implement, as well as monitor and direct. And then the coordination role gave me that opportunity then of understanding the whole operational environment of SAPS. As in my service history, it's indicated it runs from crime prevention and combating to the crime investigation as well as crime intelligence.
And you hope that you can sing from the same hymn sheet. But sometimes it hasn't been the case when you're the coordinator. Anyway, so your crime prevention and combating experience is articulated in the affidavit from 2011. Your experience as a project coordinator from 2006 to 2022. And as leader, of course, of the PKTT, you continue to play that role. You also have outlined your role in the SAPS leadership, which eminently qualifies you for the role that you play: intelligence management, strategic oversight, crime prevention and investigation. That's all in paragraph 30 through to 30.8 of your affidavit: resource management, liaison and coordination, reporting, compliance, support services. Those are all mentioned in your affidavit.
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
And when you were appointed, and this is at paragraph 34, at Crime Intelligence as the Divisional Commissioner, you state that this division was still, and I quote you, characterized by the misuse of crime intelligence methodologies and resources, which was still affecting the performance level of the division. And you will discuss that in a bit more detail with my colleague, Ms. Mogetsi, in due course.
That is correct, Honorable.
There were obviously some issues which you had to prioritize and which is also detailed in your statement from paragraphs 35 to 48. I think that's where I pass the baton on to my learned colleague, Mr. Mogetsi, Advocate Mogetsi. Thank you very much, General. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Advocate Arendse, and good morning again, General Khumalo.
Good morning.
Like Advocate Arendse indicated, I will deal with the rest of your affidavit. You already started with an introduction on the history of your employment. I think it would be a good place for me to take off from your role as Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, which is referred to in paragraph 34 of your statement. Are you there? Okay. Now, there are some things that you specifically want to talk about in relation to the time when you took over as Divisional Commissioner in Crime Intelligence, because it has been noted that at the time, there was quite a lot of irregularities that happened within Crime Intelligence. And in your statement, you take us through some of the steps that you've taken and the efforts that you've made to sort of rectify the wrongs of the past. Do you want to take us just through that briefly again?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Before I get to paragraph 34, I just want to sum up my history. As we have seen, that serving at lower ranks, I was between crime intelligence and operational response services, gaining more of operational experience up until then at junior officers level. Then my detailed history is starting mainly when I became a senior officer in 2011. That's when then I had to make use of the operational experience that I had gained to contribute then at strategic level of SAPS. That's what gave birth to, based on my experiences, gave birth to the policing model that is being implemented in the SAPS today, that I introduced in 2016, which is the 5-pillar approach. And then as then I'm appointed at Crime Intelligence in December 2022, my experience, because I had spent more than a decade of my junior ranks within Crime Intelligence, which includes also the acting as a component head of counter and security intelligence when I was a brigadier at ORS, Operational Response Services. I was then requested to go and act between 2011 and 2012 because of that previous experience at operational level up until junior. I left Crime Intelligence as a junior officer who had grown through the ranks mainly from within Crime Intelligence. And then January 2023, when one is appointed, other than experiences, practical experiences, but one has been following the problems that were talked about from within the division. So one then noticed that the division by then was still characterized by mainly the misuse of crime intelligence methodologies and also the resources which were affecting the performance of the division. Hence, there were forever complaints, especially from the operational environments of SAPS, that they are not getting the services that they are expected from crime intelligence. These were also or are also reflected in the findings of a lot of commissions and inquiries that were established, focusing on some of the issues, crime intelligence problems. We can refer to the inquiry into the state capture, where most of the problems are also reflected there in those findings, as well as the report of the expert panel into the July 2021 civil unrest. But to summarize some that one had to prioritize when one was appointed, we can look at what we found was the non-aligned key performance indicators of the division to the SAPS's priorities, and also the outdated and non-existing policies and legal framework. So the environment was just operating on a free mode, and it was like not operating like the SAPS CI. It was operating like CI. So in other words, the crime intelligence that is serving their own purpose. That was the first issue that one had to rectify. And also the misuse of state vehicles by the senior management of the division, including the senior management of the police at large. Those vehicles were allocated to those seniors unlawfully so, because it amounts to fraud and corruption. If you are benefiting twice, you are having your structured vehicle, but you are also having another luxury vehicle allocated to you by the division crime intelligence, which is supposed to be a covert vehicle used by operators. There was also a problem of outdated and non-existing physical, human, and financial control measures. It was a free-for-all environment. The irregular appointments of relatives and friends of SMS or of management. The famous one was the appointment of the 250 under the disguise of being agents, and also the failure to implement the consequence management against senior management, most especially hiding behind secrecy of the environment.
General, now you note in your statement that some of the changes that you've also made relates to legal framework and the steps that you've taken in order to develop the legal framework within crime intelligence. This is referred to in paragraph 43 of your statement. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to highlight in respect of the legal framework that you've developed?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Based on my assessment as a newly appointed divisional commissioner on the issues that I've highlighted, one had to prioritize. So as I used to term that period as you are trying to change the flat tire of a vehicle whilst it's in motion, one had to prioritize then the the issues that needed to be attended to. Of course, then there will be those decisions that one will take that will not make one famous and not supported at all by some at a senior management level, which made it very difficult then to implement such decisions. That then in that environment is mainly done through the misinformation that will be related to each and every one of those reforms that we are bringing on board. Talking to the first one, which is the legal framework, there were serious legal reforms that one had to implement, starting with the compliance with a Regulation of Interception of Communications Act, normally referred to as RICA. There were lots of interception activities that were undertaken outside the legal framework, and then one had to prioritize that to acquire the exemption certificate, which was approved by the cabinet, that allowed us now to lawfully purchase, keep, and utilize the listed equipment according to the Act. The other one was the one that had to be prioritized, was the one that talked to the exemption by the National Treasurer to depart from the procurement procedures in terms of Public Management Act for the covert operations, which are supported through the Secret Service account. Those are the two examples of the legal framework that one had to prioritize in order for the division to start then operating lawfully.
Honorable Skosana.
Thank you, Mgcinihlalo. Thank you, Chair. And Ntandulo General Khumalo. Chair, it's a quick one. I think Maga Khuluma General Khumalo, because we've been sitting here, we were told that General Khumalo agazi next gendaba crime intelligence yakana experience akana anything. Now uGeneral namhlanje ngicabanga ukuthi uyicacisile ukuthi mabhunga lawo zinhlele esikhethu ngamanye amagama bebakupenda usho ukuthi ihistory osinikele yona nje uthi mhlambe ngenze follow up ukuthi wathoma usafika almost esipoliseni ukubereka ngecrime intelligence. I think that came out clear. Am I right? Mangifunda la kinga ngoba satshelwa into ezinezikhulu ukuthi awu deserve and ngicabanga ukuthi icolleague yakho uGeneral Sibiya, that's what he said in this committee. So hence ngifuna clarity, Chair, on that one to say njengoba uyibeka nje namhlanje uthi njengoba wathoma ngo1991 you go throughout the ranks and the crime intelligence akusinto ithome at this level where you are today. Am I right?
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
Ngiyathokoza, Chair. Bengifuna net leyo clarity. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's proceed. Thanks very much for the responses, General Khumalo.
Would you like to add anything, or can I continue, General?
I touched on the legal framework issues without wanting to bore the committee on a number of policies and standard operational procedures that one had to put in place, but some I'm going to touch on them when I talk on those decisions that led to the misinformation period that started then towards the end of 2024.
But before we leave this topic of crime intelligence general. In paragraph 40 of your statement, you indicate that the decisions that you've taken were not supported by some senior management or in senior management level, which made it difficult for you to implement and achieve the desired results. My question on this is, we know that the minister, part of the minister's directive that he issued in December 2024 was a directive, a moratorium that he placed on the filling of posts in crime intelligence. How did that, with the challenges that you've encountered, how did that further impact what you were trying to achieve in crime intelligence?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Although might still talk past that part when we discuss the directive itself, but I can maybe referring to paragraph 42, that when then one had to put the priorities of the division, one had to also identify and recruit capable senior officers through transfers and promotions in order to implement then the legal framework that had been passed. So that is the period I'm referring to. That is when the misinformation campaign started through the social and print media that will be related to each and every decision that one is taking. I can take the committee through some examples from paragraph 44.
If you'd like to.
Thank you. I've referred to the decision that one had to take of removing state vehicles from the senior managers of crime intelligence, as well as SAPS senior managers, and redistribute them for the real purpose that those resources were acquired for at operational level. One will still recall that soon after that directive was issued under my signature, and then those vehicles had to be collected and then be inspected. Then the redistribution process starts. And then there were photos or pictures that were taken from where they were kept, whilst then they were in the process of being redistributed. And the media article about CI vehicles collecting dust and not allocated to members started flying. That is one example. The second example will talk to the famous misinformation that is forever spoken about or spread on the media, which talks to the informers being paid 3,000 rands only. That example is as a result of the financial delegation of powers that had to be reviewed to ensure that there are control measures, especially on the informal rewards and remuneration, establishing the committees that are going to deal with. The directive was talking to the fact that the informal rewards and remuneration that are above 3,000 rands has to go through a committee to be scrutinized, which was then a problem from those that were benefiting from a loose policy that will allow any commander at any level for such approvals. Then the other example, as I'm touching on misinformation that we experienced a lot towards the end of 2024, was around the identification and dismissal of ghost employees who were unlawfully employed, who are part of recruited 250 that I mentioned earlier on. The misinformation that was accompanied by that process was that the division is being incapacitated because of those activities that were taking place. We have lots of examples. There are people that we had unearthed that were holding the ranks up to a full colonel who have never worked for the past 15 to 20 years, but getting salaries. So one had to hunt those people and then dismiss them in terms of the regulations of SAPS. That is a project that is still ongoing. So we are going to that misinformation for quite some time. And the other one, this one is coming in at any time when one then is implementing and enforcing consequence management, especially at senior management level. We have seen the stories talking to claims of victimization, protected disclosures, the whistleblowing, and the booking of sick for a long time in order to delay disciplinary processes. The issue there is, as I indicated earlier on, that the both disciplinary and criminal investigations in the environment were not undertaken because those involved will be hiding behind the secrecy of the environment, which does not give permission for people not to be taken through the regulations of SAPS if there is something that they've done wrong. Thank you, Chair.
General Khumalo, may I refer you to page 195 of the big bundle? Now,
Honorable Matthys.
Thank you, Chair. Just quickly, can our evidence leader just speak a little bit louder? You've been very soft, Bring on the voice. Thank you, evidence leader.
I think she has lowered the microphone.
I thought my soft voice was my charm, Chair, but I'll try to speak louder. It's 195 of the bundle. It deals with the minister's directive that was issued on the 31st of December. Now, in paragraph 1 of that directive, General, I don't know how comfortable you are to speak to some of the issues raised there, but I would just like your view on how that paragraph 1 impacted crime intelligence operations. When I say operations, I mean what you were trying to achieve in turning things around. And maybe I could just read out paragraph 1, and then you could answer and explain whether that at all was of assistance or whether it made matters worse in crime intelligence. So in paragraph 1, it says the minister directed that all processes to fill vacant posts in the division should be halted immediately. And this applies to all posts in provinces, including those of provincial heads of intelligence that are currently vacant. It also applies to all posts currently vacant at head office. This should be the position until substantive discussions between the minister and the National Commissioner takes place sometime early next year.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Maybe I must start by my own view on the letter itself as a whole before I zoom into the first paragraph. In my view, the letter was supposed to be a personal letter to myself. It's talking to almost everything that is related to myself. the whole letter. But zooming into the first one, as we are trying to link it with the reforms that were, the letter came at a time when we had about 4 vacant posts of provincial heads of crime intelligence. Some had been dismissed for the process that I've explained under paragraph 47, and also a number of senior management posts that were vacant, that are still vacant at head office level. So that the directive, we had advertised 2 batches of senior management posts that were halted by that the directive. So the division, one can say, I'm not sure in terms of percentage, but then as we sitting, there are 4 provinces that are without provincial heads. And then at national level, we also have about 2 components that are without heads, and also other very critical environment like the cyber section that is still without. It was one of the most important or critical posts that we wanted to fill since the beginning of 2024. So the paragraph 1 or point number 1 on the letter did affect the performance of the division, and it is still those that are there currently. Most of us, we are working 24/7, 24 hours per day, because we must fill in the gaps that are there at senior management level, be at provincial level or at national level.
And just lastly, in this regard, because the directive referred to a meeting that was supposed to take place in order to deal with the issue, could General just confirm whether this meeting has taken place, or whether the posts are still currently halted?
The meeting referred to was supposed to take place between the minister and the national commissioner. I do not see where it mentions myself as the divisional head. I will take it that maybe there had been some discussions because the national commissioner had indicated that those posts will be re-advertised soon.
General, then I think we can move on to the next topic.